Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we have another video in the Women of the Bible series. Today we're going to be talking about Eve, and we also have this intense, sophisticated, deep look for you guys if you want to recreate it. I totally love it, and I love this look. I really, really do. So before we dive into the life of Eve, I just wanted to quickly mention why I wanted to do this video. Even with what Eve did, Eve was still an incredible woman. Before that, I think she's cool. I think she was the first woman ever, and there's so much to learn about her, and we can relate so much to her. And oftentimes I feel like we forget who she was, we forget about her, and you know, we think of her as a terrible person, especially as girls. So yeah, I just wanted to quickly get that out of the way. Like, yes, what happened with Eve was tragic, but regardless, she was still pretty cool, and I wanted to make this video in ode to her. So the first few things really is just that she was incredible. She was the only woman that was not born, but she was made. And not only made, but she was made out of the rib of Adam, which I just think that's really cool. Like, Adam was made out of the dust of the earth, and then for Eve to be made out of his rib, I just think that's so crazy and like so like cool, and like,
oh, you know, I'm Eve. I was made out of my husband's rib.
Kudos to God for his creativity. Like, another thing that I think is really cool about Eve's life was that when they were in the garden, she was able to know God in a deeper way than what we know God today. You know, she spoke to him, and he was there, and it was just a very, very, very intimate relationship that God had with Eve and with Adam. And I just think that's so crazy that she knew God in a much deeper, much more intimate way than any of us can actually really know him. It was different at that time, and we all know that if you read in Genesis, first few chapters, we know how the relationship with God and with man, you know, Adam and Eve, was so much more different than what our relationship is with him now. So yeah, I just think that's really cool that Eve knew God in like a really deep like way. I think that's crazy. So Eve was the first wife. God created her to be Adam's wife, to give Adam a woman. She was the first woman. She wasn't born, but she was created. Like, literally created, crafted by God's hands. She was the first person to be tempted by Satan, and she was the first person to sin, and which ultimately led to the fall of man. She gets criticized a lot. Granted, she was a reason why man did fall, and I just feel like we criticize her too much, unfairly. So not to go too into the story, because I'm sure we've all heard about the story of Adam and Eve. We all know what happened.
They were in the garden, God told them not to eat the fruit, but then Satan tempted Eve, and Eve ate the fruit, and then God was upset, and they were banished from the garden, and then they lived tragic lives.
We're gonna stay away from that. I just want to focus mainly on the first part of their stories, where they are in the garden, and they know God, they know who they are, and I just think that was such an awesome opportunity, you know, the way that they were with God, basically. They were BFFs with God. So this look is inspired by Eve. It's very, very simple. It's very deep and intense. When I think of Eve, I just think of green, and I really wanted to make a green look, and it's matte, and the lips are deep as well, and this just reminds me of Eve so much. So if you want to see how I created this look, just keep watching. So I've already primed my face and my eyelids, and we're going to get started with our eyes. So today we're going to be using the Lorac Pro Mega Palette, the new one. I'm going to start with Custard all over my eyes using a huge fluffy brush. Then we're going to move in with Tawny using a blending brush and bringing it back and forth, back and forth. Then with that same denser brush, we're going to put Tawny more concentrated from the outside. I'm going to be using Forest, which is this nice dark green and it's matte. And we're going to put this all over our eyelid. I'm using a flat brush just to get this all over. So just keep applying it until you get it to a point where you really like it. It doesn't have to look perfect because we're gonna blend it out again. Something like that. So we're gonna take our blending brush again, and with Tawny, I'm gonna go back in and blend this out. And here I've switched over to my denser brush. The key here is to keep blending. I decided to go back in with Forest and get it to a little bit more pigmentation. And if you want to darken it up a bit on the outer edges, you can do so. I'm going to use Lorac and just deepen up the edge and sort of wing it out as well. So I cleaned it up a little bit more and made it more even. So I went in with Seashell with a fluffy brush and put that on my brow. So I'm pretty happy with how it looks now. So I'm gonna go ahead and curl my lashes, and then I'm going to do my eyeliner, and we're just going to follow what we've already done. So eyeliner is done. Today I'm using this mascara. So the eyes are done for now. We're going to move on to the rest of our face, but we're going to come back to our eyes to add some finishing touches. So today I decided to use a BB cream just because it's lighter than a regular foundation. But to make the coverage a little bit more fuller, I'm using a denser brush, and this is also gonna get it done really quickly. Also, if you ever want a full list of the products that I use, I always leave it down below. So check that out and you'll know exactly what I use. I'm really going at it today. For concealer, I'm using this concealer from Pixi and a small concealer brush. This is also a very lightweight, creamy concealer. And we're just gonna go under the eyes with this. It's definitely brightening up. I don't know why that was so funny. And then to balance out your face, I'm going to add some up here. And then over here. That's pretty much it. My face is probably like really bright under here. That concealer though. To fix that, we're going to set with some powder under eyes. And wherever we put that concealer too. So we're coming along, interestingly. Next is bronzer, and I'm using this matte kind of color, and it's very natural. And I just really want to bronze my face today. So now that we've bronzed our face, we're going to add some blush, and I'm using this pretty blush. It's just pink. Next is these brows. I use two shades. I use Cork from MAC, which is lighter than my hair. And I also use Medium Brand from Anastasia, which is the same exact color. But I use the lighter shade to fill in, and I use the darker shade to shape it out. And I've just started doing this kind of technique, and I feel like it really makes it look more natural than just using one shade alone, if that makes sense. Okay, so they're filled in, but now we're gonna shape them. Eat smart, that is so high maintenance. It's just these brows. These brows are high maintenance, okay? They're just so rebellious, kind of like Eve. High maintenance, rebellious brows, almost done. Just gonna use some brow gel. Keeping them in place. For the eyes that we said we were gonna finish, we're gonna go back with Tawny. Okay, so put that on the lower lash line like that. And then I'm using this green emerald color. This is just an extra step. You don't have to do it yourself. So I've added the green eyeliner underneath. Couldn't do it on camera because it was too difficult. But I just feel like it adds a little bit more boldness and it makes it look a little bit more finished or complete, especially with that tawny underneath. Next is lips, and I'm using this deep, like, pinkish color. Very nice. Yeah, so I just really like this color. It's not very fallish, but I don't know. These are my kind of colors that I like. And that's it. We're all done. I so very much love this look. I love the deep eyes. I love the bold lips, and it just reminds me so much of Eve and the beginning of her life and how she was created and how she represents life and how she knew God. And I just love this look. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And I definitely recommend it to everybody to read up on the story of Eve. Even if you're a guy, we can learn so much about her life. We can relate so much to her story and how everything happened, you know. And we shouldn't really judge her too much because we do what she did all the time, you know. We disobey God and we fall into Satan's trap every day. And I just want to remind you guys that we can overcome it, and that's our main goal, to do that. But to remember that we are not perfect. We're human just as much as Eve was, and we will make mistakes. We will sin and all of that. But the wonderful thing about knowing God is that He redeems us. He sent His Son to forgive us of all of our sins. And that's the most incredible thing that I could share to you guys in this video. If you are not subscribed, be sure to subscribe for more videos that we have coming up for you guys. They're very interesting, and I'm very excited. Thank you so much for all your love and your support. I feel so blessed and fortunate, and I'm enjoying this ride so much. And I'll see you guys all very soon. Bye.
All right, ready? Lincoln Brewster.
Applesauce.
No. Why would I say applesauce? Really?
I just realized.
You're really loud.